Employee cost. So here, what are the things are going to study? Let's start with those things here. Predominantly, it is covered under CAS number 7, Cost Accounting Standards 7. This reference is okay or needed for CMA, not for the CA. This is not required for the CA. Now, what are the content you're supposed to study in labor cost? I'll give the broader outlook here before we proceed one after one. Labor cost. Predominantly, you may expect the questions, practical question from labor turnover. Second being fixing the remuneration. Fixing the remuneration. And you need to understand payroll accounting, some related theory. These are the 4 aspects that are going to be covered. Labor turnover is nothing but joining or retaining of the employees in the organization is called labor turnover. Joining and retaining. Especially in the labor turnover, you have to understand what is labor turnover and measure the labor turnover, rate of labor turnover rate. Labor turnover rate. Next, cost involving in this labor turnover and reason for the labor turnover. These are the 4 predominant aspects you have to understand. These are the 4 predominant aspects you have to understand. Clear? Labor turnover, rate of labor turnover, cost of labor turnover, and reasons. Now, then you have to understand how do we fix the remuneration, whether it's based on the hours worked or based on the number of units produced or based on its efficiency. What mode we can fix the remuneration so that it will be more convenient for the employees to earn this money and they may be happy, and this fixation of remuneration will motivate them to work better. So these are the aspects you have to keep in your mind for the remuneration fixation. How the salaries are going to be offered, the breakup of salary and PF deposits and all will be covered under payroll accounting and related theory. Okay, some related theory. So you have to understand all these aspects so that you will be able to cover the labor cost completely. Now, labor turnover is nothing but the process of workers leaving and coming to the organization will be the labor turnover. Resigning or terminating, both are considered as leaving the organization. New recruitees joining in the company will be recruitment, like so recruitment as well as leaving. Labor turnover is nothing but the rate of change. How many employees are leaving the organization, how many employees are replaced, how many employees are in total leaving as well as joining, how many employees are recruited for the expansion. These are the things that are covered here. Higher the labor turnover reflects workers are new and inexperienced, it's not good for the organization. If you have the new and inexperienced staff for the organization, it's not a good company to generate good revenue in the later period. So you have to understand all these things. Labor turnover. So especially when it's all about measurement of labor turnover, we have 4 methods: flux, replacement, separation, and additions. Flux, replacement, separation, and additions. And you have to understand what are the costs we have here. The theory portion I can cover it later on. Let me finish up the practical illustrations and then I will cover the labor turnover. So one of the easiest one to score good mark. What are the question asked? You can easily handle the questions and you can score better mark here. Let's start with the illustrations directly. So in this chapter, practical problems are focused on labor turnover rate calculation and cost involving that, and payroll accounting and remuneration fixation. These are the three aspects you have to understand. And of course, it is better to know idle time cost and how can we account this idle time cost and all also be studied here. So these are four aspects you have to cover. Now, from the following information, calculate labor turnover rate and labor flex rate. So number of workers on 1/1/2001 being 7,600, year end being 8,400. During the year C, during the year 80 workers left while 320 workers were discharged. So 80 left, 320 discharged. Okay, how many employees are left from us? Total 400. So this will be called as separated number of employees. The employees separated from us. And 1,000 workers were recruited during the year. Of these, 300 workers were recruited because of the exits, and the rest were recruited in accordance with the expansion plans. 400 has lost. In that place, we appointed 300 employees. We have appointed 300 employees. Okay, they are called replaced. They are called replaced. And they had some expansion. Because of the expansion, they are in need of additional employees, maybe 1,200 added, new employees for the expansion purpose. Expansion, okay. Anyhow, the overall employees joined in this organization be 1,500. Okay, hope this will be replacement, this will be the total. Addition, I can name this being the addition. Addition represents the number of employees replaced for the employees leaving the organization, as well as the number of employees recruited because of the expansion scheme. Clear? Now, come on, you can guess the answer easily. Labor turnover will be calculated under separation method. Separation method. Under separation method. How many employees are separated? Employees separated from us divided by average number of employees. How many employees are separated? That you can represent in percentage. Number of employees separated from us being 400. What is the average number of employees we have? You add these two and divide this by 2, 800 number of employees. 400 divided by 8,000. So then this will be 5%. Is that okay? Second one is calculate the same under replacement method. Replacement method. What could be the formula? Come on, guess. What could be the formula here? Employees replaced and divided by average number of employees in percentage. How many employees are replaced in the place of retirement or discharge? 300 only. 300 divided by 800 in percentage. The ultimate value being 3.75%. And fourth one being additions. Additions method. This method is very rare, but anyhow you can understand. Addition method. Addition method is nothing but number of employees added. Employees added. Employees added means you have to add what? Replaced as well as expansion. Both the employees are going to be added in the numerator divided by average number of employees in percentage. The numerator value being 1,500 divided by average number of employees being 8,000, that you can represent that in percentage. Okay, this one being the 8,000, sorry. And what is the ultimate value? 18.75%. And fourth one, flux method. Flux method is a summary of all these things. Flux method. Okay. Is equal to number of employees separated, replaced, and recruited for the expansion. Recruited for expansion and replacement both will be called as sometimes addition, divided by average number of employees in percentage. Number of employees separated here being 400 plus replacement and additions being 1500 divided by 8000 in percentage. Then the ultimate value being 23.75 percentage. 23.75 percentage. Clear? Come on. Make a note of it faster. Clear? Now let's move on to the next illustration. Question number 2. Yes, tell me. The cost accountants of Y Limited has computed labor turnover rates for the quarter ended 31st March 2022 as 10%, 5%, and 3% respectively for flux method, replacement method, and separation method. In case of flux method, what is the formula? Number of employees separated plus number of employees replaced and recruited for the expansion purpose divided by average number of employees. And in case of replacement method, number of employees replaced divided by average number of employees into percentage into 100. And in case of separation method, number of employees separated from us divided by average number of employees in percentage. Now, the flux method gave us 0.1 answer. For replacement, it is 0.05. For separation method, 0.03. Is that okay? So here we have to find out some other data as missing one. If the number of workers replaced during the quarter is 30, so we have been given the R here. R here. Okay. So you have to find out the rest of things. So from this replacement method, multiplication 30 by 0.05. Hope the final answer being 600. Now I can substitute that information for the separation method. Average number of employees is calculated from the earlier one 600. Now S can be calculated. Number of employees separated from us is equal to do the cross multiplication. Okay. So 600 into 0.03. Otherwise I can simply multiply the other side. So 18 will be the answer. And I can substitute available information in the flux method. Number of employees separated from us 18. Average number of employees being 600. And we can find out the E as a missing data. Okay, 18 plus 30, 48 plus E is equal to, this 600 is transferred to the other side, so 600 into 0.1. Otherwise, E is equal to 60 minus 48 is equal to 12. 12 will be the final answer. Shall I move on to the next one? Now, loss due to labor turnover. Loss due to labor turnover. See, because of recruiting the employees late, we may lose the productive hours. Because of that, we may lose sales also. Production lost and ultimately sales lost because of delay in recruitment. So, what are the costs are involving here? Okay, labor turnover leads to three predominant costs. One is loss of production, ultimately leads to loss of profit. Second being the process of selection and recruitment, cost you incur for selection and recruitment, isn't it? Suddenly an employee left the job, now we have to replace the job. So for that we have to go for selecting the correct employee. Not only then, we have to train and fit into the job. It involves the costs. And though we choose and train and fit into the job, yet he is inexperienced only. So because of that, the production may be lost. Okay, wastage and defective and loss may also be possible. Waste due to the ineffectiveness. These are the three costs are involving. So you have to find out what is the cost we spend for labor turnover. Now you need to understand what are the causes for the labor turnover. Why the laborers are leaving our organization? They may demand the salary. Sir, we need to have hike in the salary. What is your expectation? We need to get at least 1 lakh rupees additionally compared to the previous year. Okay, now will I be able to pay that 1 lakh rupees or send him out and replace the new employee? If I send him out and recruiting the new employee, automatically cost us this much. These three costs we have to spend for replacing the employee, and it costs us 1.5 lakhs. Naturally, what happens? You can make the decision to retain him by negotiating the salary or offering the salary of rupees 1 lakh. The other way being, this is only 0.5 lakhs. Then what happens? You can simply send him out and you can replace a new employee. That's how we can make the decision whether we can retain the employee by offering the things what he demanded, or we can simply send him out and replace the new employees. Anyhow, to find out what is the cost involving for the labor turnover, we have to find out these three predominant costs and add those three costs to find out loss due to labor turnover. The management of Sunshine Limited wants to have an idea of the profit lost or forgone as a result of labor turnover the last year. Last year sales amounted to rupees 66 lakhs and PVR being 20%. So sales in the last year, okay, sales in the last year being 66 lakhs. Okay, where the PVR being 20%. The total number of actual hours worked by the direct labor force being 3.45 lakhs. So 3.45 lakhs they worked. So this much of hours they worked, and this is the amount of sales they can achieve. As a result of the delay by the personnel department in filling the vacancies due to the labor turnover, 75,000 potentially productive hours were lost. Now, what is the hours lost here? Lost 0.75 lakhs hours lost. For 3.45 lakhs hours of production, they can make a sales of or productions of 66 lakhs. Means if that 75,000 hours also properly available without any loss of recruitment or labor turnover, what could be the sales we could have achieved because of this one? You can find out that using the cross multiplication. So 66 lakhs into 0.75 divided by 3.45 lakhs. Huh? Okay. Now, one more thing before we do. The actual direct labor hours included 30,000 hours attributable to training new recruits. This actual 3.45 lakhs, where this is done by 30,000 training new recruits, out of which half of the hours were unproductive. So naturally what happens? What about the productive hours? 3,15,000. This one is productive to half extent. This will be productive for full extent. Then this is 15,000. This is 3,15,000. Then this will be 3,30,000 only. Clear? So for 3.3 lakhs, effective productive hour, the sales is 66 lakhs. Because of delay in recruitment, we lost 75,000 hours. Then what about the overall loss for that 75,000 hours? You can do that other multiplication. If this information is missing, no problem. You can work out straight away by keeping 3.45 lakhs. But the information is clearly stated. Out of the working hours, 15,000 hours may be unproductive. Now, what about the sales? On that profit being 20%. This is what about the profit lost. Profit lost. How much is that? 3 lakhs. Okay. The cost incurred consequent on labor turnover reveal on analysis the following. These are the other costs also. This is the first one. Cost of selecting and recruiting. Settlement cost due to leaving. Selection cost. Recruitment cost. Training cost. So you have to add up all these costs. So profit lost 3 lakhs. Settlement cost because of leaving. Okay, the employees are leaving us. No. Okay, immediately make the payment 27,420 to go for retirement benefits like. And then we need to select a new team. Selection cost 12,750, and we have to place them in proper job recruitment. Okay, recruitment cost 18,725. After recruiting, we have to train them. Training cost for equipping them to do work better. These are the second cost. Loss of production, cost of selecting and recruiting. Hope this will be in total 75,000. Okay, so the ultimate value being 3,75,000. What about the waste, sir? That inexperienced staff, out of that 15,000 hours lost, you can calculate for that also. Okay, it's very rare. Some text says you need to add this one also here. Some text says you no need to add this. Okay, even in CMA and CA book, they have calculated in both the way. You can now skip this. If you want to show, then you can show this way also. How? 66 lakhs into 15,000 divided by 3,30,000 rupees into 20%. This will be lost due to the inexperienced staff. Okay, what's the value you are getting? 60,000. Okay, you can show this one also if you want. But this is how you can finish up the question. Now, so labor turnover rate can be calculated under 4 methods. Also we discussed. Now you have to understand why the employees are leaving us. That can be classifiable as avoidable causes and unavoidable causes. In case of unavoidable causes, we have 2 aspects. Like remuneration may be a matter, or working hours, late night working hours may also be a reason why the employees are leaving our organization. Working condition, training and promotion. So these are the causes we have. We can group all these things as being the avoidable causes. If the management decides to increase the remuneration, slightly adjusting the working hours and working condition, giving the employees good training to handle any tough job, and promoting them to have their own satisfaction of getting promotion, automatically they will stick with us for a longer period. But anyhow, it costs us some additional expenses for the management. There may be unavoidable causes. In unavoidable causes, one is being personal causes. Probably he may get better employment than he works here. We cannot now stop him. He will definitely go other job. His own health issues, family problems. He himself dissatisfied with the current job. These are the reasons we cannot rectify those things, or called unavoidable causes. Under unavoidable causes, again, it's totally based on the economical situation, nation's economic situation, like seasonal change. We don't get the raw material hereafter, and no market for the product we manufacture. The product now suddenly government bans, we cannot manufacture anymore, and we may sometimes take the disciplinary action on the employee who is not doing well. So these are the reasons called as unavoidable causes. So you group that reasons for the labor turnover into avoidable and unavoidable. And of course, the labor turnover will be a not good factor for the organization. It really spoils the company, and it has a cost, and it reduces the income also. Now, the company has to make the decision, how can we control it? We have to take the remedial steps. We have to take remedial steps to minimize the labor turnover. What are they? Take the exit interview. While leaving the organization, we ask them, why do you leave? Is it employment means working hours reason, or salary reason, or promotion reason? Like this, you can collect the data from the employees who are leaving and keep that data as a base for deciding whether the company is improving in the subsequent period or not. And job analysis and evaluation, scientific system of recruitment, selection, placement, and promotion, so that we will not select the irredundant or not suitable employees, so that they will sustain with us for a longer period. Enlightened attitude of the management. So when the employee reports that company is not doing better job, then the management should be in positive sense to take those things to rectify those issues. Okay, enlightened attitude of the management to resolve employees' dissatisfaction. Anyhow, you can have the committee to analyze why the labor turnover is very high, how can we reduce it all. So there should be committee, and we ask the report from the committee also. A remedial step. And what could be the impact of labor turnover? And flow of production is disturbed, cost increases, breakage of tools and wastage of material because of the inefficient new staff recruited, and overall production decreases, and profit also be lost due to delay in recruitment and all. So these are the impact of the labor turnover. And what are the costs we have for the labor turnover? So the costs can be of two types. One is preventive cost, another one is replacement cost. Already told you, know, replacement cost is nothing but replacing the employee in the place of exit employees. That's called replacement cost, like profit lost and selection, recruitment, and settlement cost and all. Preventive cost is we try to increase the salary and promote them with higher position and higher salary, so that we can retain the employees, create a good working environment, and restroom facilities, means recreation and canteen facilities and all. But of course, it has some additional cost, additional cost. Because of spending those things, we now reduce the number of employees leaving our organization. It's called preventive cost and replacement cost, like increased remuneration, transport facility, welfare services, promotion, improve working conditions. What are the problems we already listed in the case of avoidable cost? You know, you can now avoid this by doing some extra cost. These costs are called preventive costs. And replacement, advertisement for selecting the employees and recruit, select, train, and delay in recruitment causes loss of productive hours, and because of inexperience, there may be defective product being the output produced by the inexperienced staff. Now, what happens? How can we treat this cost of labor turnover, sir? The cost of labor turnover is usually treated as an overhead expenses. Overhead expenses. The expenses can be probably direct, and another one is indirect. Usually, direct will be falling under what? Prime cost, and this indirect will be overhead. And if that expenses is for abnormal reason, then this will be transferable to where? Costing. P&L report. This is a general idea you need to have. If all the expenses related to the finished goods you supposed to manufacture and directly linked, then those things are prime cost. If those things are not grouped for the product manufactured, then you can be indirectly supporting for the manufacture, means called as overhead. And this overhead may be incurred for the factory or selling and distribution or administration purposes, right? Hope you will be now able to understand. Here, the labor cost of labor turnover usually will be a part of overhead only. Overhead only. Clear? Now, second part, before we go for remuneration and payroll accounting, let me try to finish up the concept idle time cost and how can we treat. Idle time cost is nothing but the employees are allowed to stay in our company without work, but we are paying the money. If the employees are working for a specific job, the payment made to the workers is recoverable from the job itself, right? If Mr. A works for the job X, immediately the salary payable to A is now recovered from the job X. If you are being the buyer of job X, then I can charge the money from you. While preparing the cost sheet, I can prepare cost sheet by including the salary payable to this employee from you. But I'm keeping the employee idle for 2 hours and I paid to salary for the 2 hours. How can I recover this from customer? Right. Now the question is, if the idle time is natural or normal, maybe unavoidable. Maybe unavoidable. Or sometimes it may be avoidable. So such a way we can classify the idle time into two varieties. One is normal, another one is abnormal. Probably normal means for rest time he takes between two heavy job he has done. He worked for 1 hour non-stop. We need to give 15 minutes break. Thereafter again he starts working for another 1 hour, 1.5 hours. This 15 minutes is being idle, no. Because of taking rest, it's natural, it's unavoidable. We cannot ask him to work round the clock. He becomes fatigue also. So any salary payable for that 15 minutes can be recoverable from the product itself by adding this as an overhead. But because of the machine breakdown and we forgot to purchase the raw material and electricity is shut down and we don't have the generator backup. Because of that reason, for 3 hours or 4 hours, the employees are kept idle and we are paying the salary. How can I recover the salary from the customer? It's my fault. I can be ready with the generator and other facilities and I can have the raw materials procured in prompt time so that this idle time could have been avoided. No. So the unavoidable idle time, okay, can be recoverable. Avoidable because of your carelessness. If you make any mistake or you are paying the idle time, that will be charged out of your pocket. Out of your pocket means debited to the costing P&L account. Hope you will be now understand. Find out the idle time cost, step number 1. Now, how can you account it? Step number 2. While accounting, you have to classify that idle time into normal and abnormal. Let's start with the first illustration. Now, capacity usage ratio and capacity utilization ratio, 80% and 90%. The available working hours in a month being 200 hours. So 200 hours. Out of that, usage being how many hours you can use? Only 80% hours can be used. Then 80% of hours being 160 hours. Is that okay? And utilization ratio, out of that, how much is utilized properly? 90% utilized. 90%, 144. Is that okay? Now you have to understand. This difference 40 and this difference 16. Okay, this 40 is unavoidable. Unavoidable. Based on usage, what you calculated here, you know, is called as unavoidable. And this will be called as avoidable. If you are being careful, you could have avoided this. In a day of 24 hours, naturally 12 hours you can work, even though you are capable of working 12 hours, but the production of these 12 hours is equal to only 10 hours, 2 hours. Yes, of course you lost. This is no way. You need to take the rest and food and other refreshment. All takes at least 12 hours. You have 12 hours capable of working for your production purpose. Out of the 12, Because of some other reason, you worked for only 10. This one possible to work, but you missed to work properly. This one not possible to work. Okay, sleeping hours. I cannot ask you 24 hours you have. So within 24 hours, you can complete all these things, which is not practically possible. So as you are being a human being, you have to take the rest. Similarly, machine also cannot work non-stop for every 8 hours. It should be given rest. So that is not possible at all. That is called usage ratio. If you go for the reading the speedometer of your bike or car, it may show around 180 kilometers like the maximum, but you cannot drive 180. You can drive only 100. That would be riskier. So though the speedometer shows 180, but you are capable of driving only 100 or 120, the maximum speed in no traffic area. So 60, which is not possible at all, no. That's a system capacity, but though you are having the system capacity to drive 200 kilometers, but you are capable of using only 120 kilometers. Similarly, 24 hours is your system capacity, you are capable of working only 12 hours. In that 12 hours, how many hours you can effectively work? So, every day you are working only 8 hours means you can now improve it. You can now try to understand how to improve it. How to improve it. Now, 240. This is unavoidable. Unavoidable. Okay. And productive hours. And avoidable. Unavoidable being 40, productive being 144, avoidable being 16. Right. And the breakup of idle time is waiting for the job. This 16 is now segregated into waiting for job, 5 hours, breakdown, machine breakdown, 4 hours, then waiting for tools, 3 hours. Calculate the idle time cost and present the same in table form when hourly cost of running the machine is 80. Now here 5 into 80, 400, 4 into 80, 320, 3 into 80, 240, but 16, but total you get only 12. Another 4 may be considered as still you have facility without usage named as idle facility. Here we don't have the facility. First scenario, all the facilities are available but job is missing. Next scenario, all the facilities are available but machine is broken down. The next one is tools is missing. Now you have all the facilities, still the work has not gone for 4 hours. These things are avoidable. How can you avoid? If you are doing the regular maintenance of the machine, the breakdown could be eliminated. And you could have arranged the tools much ahead. Then you no need to wait for the tools. And job also be taken ahead of, allotted ahead of that so that you don't wait for that. So these are the losses called avoidable costs. Now this value being 320. And this one, unavoidable being 3200. Usually this will be overhead. What about this one? This is our side mistake. I cannot say to the customer, sir, you need to pay me 240 rupees extra, sir, because all the employees were waiting without machines, sir, without tools, sir. They immediately says, you could have procured the tools much ahead. No, it's not my fault. I don't pay. So if you are not able to transfer the burden to the consumer, then it is called loss or abnormal loss can be debited to the costing paid record. This one, you can definitely demand, sir, how the employee can work round the clock, sir, for every 1 hour, they need to take at least 15 minutes rest. So 1 hour salary and that 15 minutes rest salary also be recoverable from the customers only. This can be recoverable from customers, this cannot be recoverable from customers. Hope you will be now able to understand this. Clear? If it is clear, text me, we will move on to the next one. Next question, question number 2. The worker is paid 100 per hour and the 5 days working week contains 42 hours. The daily allowances for approved absence from his place of work, maintenance of machine, etc. 12 minutes. This is all about daily allowances. For a week of 5 days, 60 minutes or 1 hour may be lost. This one is approved absence, means normal one. The cost we pay for this can be recoverable from the customers only. And his job cards show that his time chargeable during the week to various cost center is as follows. Okay. So 42 hours, here job 305, 20 hours. For job 310, 10 hours. For job 320, 8 hours. And idle time, what about this one? Normal. 1 hour is allowed. Out of 42, currently we have 39. Time unaccounted for is caused by power failure. So, again we have still idle time because of power failure. This power failure idle time is not named as abnormal. Okay. What is the value? 3 hours, am I right? 3 hours. Per hour costing rupees 10, answer 100, then you can multiply that into 100, so that you will get what? 2000, 1000, 800, 100 and 300. Now, how do we recover this? How do you recover this? This will be recovered in job 305. While billing job 305, I add this one. How can you prepare the cost sheet? Remember, the cost sheet chapter we have studied. There in direct material, based on requisition slip number, we find out the direct material cost for the concerned job. And in case of direct labor, using the job card, this is called job card. Let me brief the theory background of this one so that you will be able to understand easily. Job card, and this job card show. So from this, if I prepare the cost sheet for the job 305, direct labor cost for 305 being 2000, then you will get the prime cost. Then you have to add the overhead. How can we add the overhead, sir? Certain percentage on the direct labor or direct material, or certain percentage on the direct prime cost. Is unit method. 6 bases are there. We'll be studying that along with the overhead chapter, not here. Already in cost sheet, we used some bases, predominantly direct labor. Based on the direct labor cost, we can link how much could be the factory overhead value, and the same way we can calculate. Or based on the machine material, or based on the material and labor prime cost, sometimes machine hour and sometimes labor hour, and finally you may depend on the sales also. Such a way that overhead can be recovered. Here, this 1000 could be recoverable from job 310, and this will be recoverable as a part of cost for the job 320. And what about this one, sir? This is nothing but overhead. Whatever the overhead value you calculate, that will be again redistributed to the product using absorption costing. We'll study this in overhead chapter. Absorption costing. In CA Inter, you might have studied this overhead can be linked to the product using activity based costing also. Okay, activity based costing, ABC costing in CA. It's not applicable to the CMA Group 1. Of course, you might have studied in CMA Group 2 or later you will study. So overhead is identified commonly and that overhead is now allocated, reallocated to the product is called absorption costing. What about this one, sir? This is not going to be recovered from the customer. It's my fault. So it can be debited to where? Costing, P&L account. Costing, P&L account. Hope you'll be now able to understand this one. Clear? Any doubts? Now, let's start with the payroll accounting. Payroll accounting is similar to the salary computation in your income tax. Okay. From the particulars given below, prepare labor cost per man day of 8 hours. Labor cost per day for 8 hours. We'll start with basic salary. 100 rupees per day. I may now calculate the cost to company as well as take home pay. In your salary calculation, you calculate for the take home pay. You will calculate take home pay. How much money is going to be released to the employee's hand. In case of PF, we subtract the PF amount, right? Similarly, whatever the amount be subtracted while making the payment, net of subtraction will be the amount released in the hands of the employee. That is called take home pay. But cost to company, what are the amount contributed for the employees' requirement in their specific fund, retirement fund, or some other non-monetary perquisites benefit given during the office hours will also be cost to company. For the costing purpose, we need to understand CTC only, cost to company only. While releasing the payment, we have to consider only the take home pay, right? So the company pays 100 rupees, employee takes 100 rupees. DNS allowance. DNS allowance being 300% of the basic. So 300% given and taken. Leave salary. For A and B both put together 10%. So 40 rupees payable and 40 rupees taken by the employee. Employee's contribution to PF. So PF and ESI. PF and ESI. I just add these two. How much is that? 10.5%. I can directly calculate 10.5% rather than independently. What's the value you are getting? I think 55 rupees. Am I right? Both put together. Round off this. 55 rupees. You have to add up the 3 and that and then you have to calculate 10.5% than this. 46. I think in the latest book it is changed into 10%. Cross verify. Yeah, okay. You can make it 10%. Then 10 plus 12, 2.5, 12.5% will be calculated. So 12.5% on this value being 55 rupees. This is nothing but employer's contribution. This is nothing but employer's contribution. But for employee, this 55 will be the minus item. Minus item. Is that okay? Employer deposits 55 rupees, isn't it? Employer and employee. For the service rendered by the employee to the employer, employer makes the payment salary here, probably 100, 440. We can add up these three. Okay, we can add up these three. 440, and employer makes 55 rupees as a PF contribution to PF department. Okay, with the PF department, PF and ESA, employee state insurance. Apart from that, he subtracts another 55 rupees from here as employee's contribution, that will also be deposited here. Another 55. Almost 110 rupees will be available in the employee's PF account. Okay, 55 rupees employer's contribution deposited in the PF account. From the employee, we subtract the 55. That 55 also deposited in the employer's PF account, means PF account is deposited there. Clear? And expenditure and amenities during the working environment, tea, snacks may be given. Those things are amenities, which is 1000 rupees per head per mensum. The working days in a month being 25 days, so you divide this by 25, so you will be able to find out the per day value. Per day value being how much? 40 rupees, isn't it? 40 rupees. Facilities provided may not be available in the form of cash for the employee's hand. So the cost to company for the company being 535, but employee gets amount to be credited in his bank account is 385. The difference between these two is 155, I think. Am I right? So to give the breakup of this 155 difference, 110 you can go under 150. Okay. Now you can give the breakup. You can tell the employee, sir, 110 is now available in your PF and ESA account, sir. And another 40 rupees, you enjoy the tea and snacks and everything during the office hours, 40 rupees. That's how we can give the breakup. Why the difference is there between the CTC and take home pay. For the costing calculations, we have to consider only this amount. What is the cost for labor for manufacturing the goods? Then automatically you have to take only 535, not 385. Not 385. Hope you will be now able to understand. Come on, make note of it. Now let's move on to the next one. In payroll accounting, we'll deal one more illustration. Now, calculate the earnings of A and B from the following particulars and allocate the labor cost to the jobs X, Y, and Z. Basic salary, we have two laborers A and B. What we need? We need to know only cost to company, as it is all about costing calculation. Basic wages 10,000 and 10,000. This you can change this into 16,000. DNS allowance, DA being 50% on this, 5,000 and 8,000. PF and ESI being 10% on basic. PF and ESI on the basic 10%. 1,000, 1,600. And overtime is there. where worker A worked for 10 hours. Nil for B. The normal working hours for the month are 200. Overtime is paid at double the total of normal wages and DNS allowances. What about the basic plus DA? What about the things you calculated? No. For the overtime wages, overtime premium, okay, is equal to 2 times of the basic and DA. Basic and DA. Clear? Oh, so here the basic. We never bother about B. There is no overtime requirement for B, only for A. Basic being 10,000, DA being 5,000. You have to multiply 2 times. This is all about for month. The month consisted of 200 hours, so divide this by 200 to find out the overtime wages per hour. Per hour. Okay. How much is that? Is it 150? 150 is the overtime wages per hour. 10,000 plus 5,000, 15,000, 2 times will be payable for the entire monthly working. The number of hours worked in the month being 200, so divide that the entire 30,000 by 200, so 150 will be the overtime wages. So overtime wages being for 10 hours, 1,500 will be payable. Without the overtime wages, the total wages being 16,000. With overtime, the amount payable to A being 17,500. In case of B, 24, 25, 600. Employer's contribution to state insurance and provident fund at equal rates of the employee's contribution. So, PF and ESI, what employer contributes, the same amount will be contributed by the employee also. That's very easy, that you can easily understand. Unless specifically stated, the employee and employer contribution are the same. The two workers were employed on jobs X, Y, and Z in the following proportions. Okay, job X and X, Y, G. X, job X, Y, and Z. Then worker A. What is the salary payable to workers A? 16,000. But worker A contributed 40% of his work for job X. From this, it is very clear what is the overall wages payable to A. You find out that in that 40% will be now recoverable from the job X. What is that value? 6,400. And for Y, 30% only 4,800. For Z also 4,800. Similarly, for the salary payable to B, 25,600. 50% is meant for job X. And 20 for Y and 30 for Z. So 50 being 12,800 and 5,120 and 7,680. What about the overtime, sir? Overtime will be allotted to the job for which it is worked. Okay. Overtime was done for job Y. So overtime paid for A is recoverable from Y only, the 1,500. So probably the job Y is given by Mr. X. He may say, sir, I want the job to be done immediately. Sir, it costs me additionally another 1,500. I am willing to pay. I need that item to be delivered immediately. So after his consent only, we allowed our workers to work for additional hours by offering some extra work means overtime premium. Then we can recover that directly from Y. If it is our fault and to compensate, we worked overtime. Again, you can consider this being normal or abnormal. If it is being the normal, you can recover that through overtime. So overheads, if it is being the abnormal, transfer to the P&L account. You understand? So overtime premium. Okay. So how to recover the overtime premium? It is as per the request of customer. Then charge him. But it is a regular practice of the company. Okay. Regular company. Then it is overhead. No, sir. It is a mistake of the company. Suddenly, they have to meet the product to be finished within the due date. We ask the workers to work in the late hours. It's our mistake. Machine breakdown or power shutdown or tools not available. Whatever the reason may be, it's from my side. then overtime is paid to finish up the work as per the deadline, then it's my fault. No, can be transferable to costing P&L account. Clear? That's a logic. That's a logic. Clear? Now, the overall amount for job X being 19,200, Y being 11,420, and Z being 12,480. Now, while preparing the cost sheet for job X, okay, direct material, bring it from stores ledger control account, and direct labor payroll accounting. From the payroll accounting, you can identify and add here 19,200. Then you will get the prime cost. What about the overhead, sir? We'll study in the overhead chapter how this is going to be absorbed with the product. Clear? Yes, make note of it. Now, in material costing, I already explained about the stores ledger and material issues and all. Workshop or production department, production planning department, and showroom. Showroom gets the order, informs that order to be done to the production planning department. Production planning department, bill of material and other things also be procured by the production department head and all. And based on that, production department head will procure the material from the stores department. Okay. Requisition slip as well as material may be transferred. But what happens in case of labor, sir? Now I'm going to introduce new department here, HR department. HR department. If the employee comes here, the moment he enters into the organization, attendance will be taken. Okay, this is called timekeeping. Timekeeping. Clear? In this timekeeping, we will finalize whether he is present or absent. He is present or absent. And the production department requests the HR department to send 5 employees, 2 employees, 3 employees for various jobs. So X production department will have 3 jobs, X, Y and Z like. And production department demands, sir, I need laborer for X department, sir, X job, sir. Okay. And sometimes later I need to use him for Y job. Sometimes I may use him for Z job and all. Now, Mr. A comes to the office. The moment he enters, then immediately he signs the attendance register, or he can use the biometric to present to show his presence, or whatever the mode may be. So using the biometric, he enters into that, and automatically his presence is counted. His presence is counted. For example, a day of 8 hours, his salary being 800 rupees. Now, Mr. A is paid 800 rupees for the day work. Days presence, not days work, days presence. Now, from whom that 800 rupees is recoverable? From whom this 800 rupees is recoverable? Now we are handing over a job card to Mr. A. Okay, job card or employee card, job card or employee card. Okay, probably employee card. We may name this being employee card. Employee card means this card is for whom? A, Mr. A. So, HR head will divert him to go for job X. Morning 9 o'clock up to 11:30, he worked for job X. How many hours? 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. Then from 11:30 to 11:45, tea break. And 11:45 to, okay, probably 8 hours means from 9 to 8 hours, 10, 11, 12, okay, probably 5 o'clock. 9 to 5, 1 to 2 being the lunch break. That's how the date is fixed. Okay, so 11:42, 1 o'clock, he worked for job Y. Come on, tell me, how many hours here? 1 hour, 15 minutes. 1 hour, 15 minutes. And 1 to 2, lunch. And 2 to 3, no job, idle time. And 3 to 3:15, tea break. Even sitting idly, you consume more tea. Okay, so 3 to 3:15, again, tea break. 3:15 to, okay, 4:45. He worked for Z. How many hours? 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. And 4:45 to 5, no job and leaves. Now, out of 8 hours, you know, this one is unavoidable, tea break. And finally, only 15 minutes we cannot allot any job. So, almost 45 minutes. Otherwise, I can make it 0.75 hours. Okay, avoidable idle time. Sorry, means unavoidable. Unavoidable. This 1 hour, you know, he could have worked properly, but we didn't have job. Then it is unavoidable. This is abnormal. This is abnormal. Okay, this is normal. I'm sorry, this normal is unavoidable. Normal is usually unavoidable. Abnormal is avoidable if you are already prepared. And then 2.5 hours worked for X, 1 hour 15 minutes or 1.25 hours is for Y, another 1.5 hours is for Z. Overall time being 8 hours. I am getting this, right? Isn't it? One hour shortage is there, right? I can make it how the shortage comes. 6 hours, okay, 6 hours. So I can make it 5:45, 2.5 hours. Okay, this is 2.5 hours. Now you'll be getting clear. From 9 to 6, 1 hour after the break, 8 hours will be there. This 75 minutes per hour, 800 means 600 rupees will be considered as overhead. For 1 hour, 800 rupees means per hour 100 rupees. You know, for 75 or 0.75 hours, 75 rupees is the overhead. 100 rupees is the last amount transferable to the costing P&L account. This 2.5 hours, 250 is the amount recoverable from X. For 1.25 hours, 125 recoverable from Y and 250 recoverable from Z. So 800 rupees amount paid for A is going to be recoverable from different jobs, or for the different jobs routed through overhead, or sometimes it may be totally lost debited to the P&L account. That's how we can do. This will be done by the reference to the employee cost. job cost or employee cost. This process is called time booking. This process is called time booking. You have to understand the difference between timekeeping and time booking. Timekeeping is the attendance, time booking is the time he devoted for every job. Clear? Now, timekeeping is nothing but recording of the employee's attendance time. The objectives of timekeeping is the preparation of payroll and computation of the cost. That's all. Methods of timekeeping: attendance records, disk method, clock cards, and time recording. Currently, we have modern one, biometric model. Then what is called time booking? Recording the details of work done and time spent on each job or process in the day. How many hours is spent for every job or process? The main objectives of time booking is to find out the time spent on the job and the amount lost due to the idle time hours. Everything can be calculated. Ascertaining the labor cost of various jobs and products, and to calculate the amount of wages and bonus payable, overhead rates, evaluation of the performance. For all these things, time booking is mandatory. You have to understand the difference between timekeeping and time booking. Timekeeping is the attendance, time booking is nothing but recording the time spent for every job or process. Methods of time booking: I told you about employee card. We may have the job tickets, labor cost card. Labor cost card is nothing but employee cost card. Okay. Daily time sheet, weekly time sheet, and time and job card. So these are the methods we have. So what is called job tickets? If the employees are diverted to go for various job X for sometimes, then I divert to go for job Y and all. The in charge who is doing the job X, he gives a record. This employee worked for 3 years and signed by the department head or the job head. Later on, all these things are collected and find out how many employees are working for the job X based on the job tickets they get. Summation will be the time spent for that particular job. A employee may work for this job and got signed for 2 hours by the job X in charge. Then B worker also worked for job X for 1 hour. Such a way, we collect all the job tickets from different employees working for that, and each and every employee working for the job after completion of the working hours in that job gets a ticket from them. You group all the tickets to find out how many hours that employee worked for that particular jobs. Okay, if A in a day of 8 hours, he could have worked for job X, Y, Z 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, means 2 hours. So he gets a ticket for 3 hours worked for X from the X job in charge, 2 hours from Y job in charge, 2 hours from Z job in charge, and he has lots of job cards. Hands over to the department and they will finally calculate. And we may have the time and job card. How many hours is spent for every job will also be shown here. These are the time booking methods we have. Hope you will be now able to understand this one. Before we go for the final theory, we will now go with the next illustration. Clear? Hope you will be now able to understand labor turnover, treatment, identification, treatment of idle time. The next one is all about payroll accounting we have completed. And along with that theory also, labor turnover related theory also completed, as well as timekeeping and time booking related theory also over. Now, remuneration and incentives. Usually remuneration or incentive may be fixed based on the employee's performances. Okay. So then it's mandatory to find out the performance rating also. Understand that standard output being 100 units, where actual output produced by A being 100. What does it mean? Okay. What we expected, he produced the same. then his performance rating will be equal to 100%. How will you calculate? Actual output divided by standard output is the performance rating. Clear? Another fellow B, he has produced only 80 unit, but our expectation is 100 unit. He has produced less than what we expected, then his performance rating should be 80%. So 80 by 100. 80 by 100. Clear? And in case of C, we expected 100 units to be produced, but he has produced 120 units. Then actual by standard 120%. From this, it is very clear the employee who means produces more than what we expected will have more performance rating. Lesser produced then will have lesser performance rating. Based on his performance rating, he may be given the incentive. Okay, we will see that incentive case in the next illustration, next case. Okay. Now, actual time taken being and standard time taken. The company has given 10 hours to complete a job. He has completed a job in 10 hours. So, we expected the job could be completed by 10 hours. A also completed the same in 10 hours. Then what about the performance rating here? Standard one, 100%, sir. But whenever about B, you know, standard time taken being 10, but actual time taken by him is 8 hours. He has finished much earlier. Okay, then what could be the performance rating? Is it lesser or more? Less than 100 or more than 100 in this case? Come on. Less than 100 or more than 100? Huh? Completing the job in 8 hours rather than 10 hours. So, performance rating in this case is equal to standard time divided by actual time. 10 divided by 8, come on, tell me. 125%. He consumes lesser time to do the same job. Okay. In case of output, actual should be higher to call him good performer. In case of time consumption, lower time consumption will be better here. You understand? So the formula will be just inverse. You understand? And in case of B, in case of C, standard time 10, but he has taken 12.5 hours. Then what happens here? 10 by 12.5, performance rating is lesser, 88% only. 80% only. Hope you will be now able to understand the performance rating here. Now we'll move on to the next illustration. Now we'll be dealing with the calculation or fixation of remuneration. Okay. So, while calculating the remuneration, we have straight time wage system or piece wage system. These are the predominant systems exist for a longer period. Number of hours worked, okay, time taken into hourly rate. In case of piece wage, pieces produced into piece rate will be taken. Pieces produced into piece rate will be taken. But thereafter, some modern management gurus came here and they recommended. The first method recommended here is by Taylor differential piece rate system. Taylor differential piece rate system. Okay. Taylor's differential piece rate system. Clear? So, as per Taylor's differential piece rate system, what the piece rate you calculate, based on his performance rating, incentive or penalty will be levied. Incentive or penalty will be levied. That's how the Taylor is recommended. See here. If his standard performance rating is less than the standard, then automatically pieces produced into piece rate multiplied by only 80%. If standard is at or above, pieces produced into piece rate. Otherwise, piece rate wages is calculated. With that, you have to add 20% extra. 120% will be offered. You understand now? The employee who performs less than the expected standard, calculate the piece wage. In that, only 80% is offered. For example, I tell you to offer you 100 rupees for every units produced, and I tell you a day of 10 hours, you have to produce at least 10 units. For every unit, 100 rupees means for 10 units, 1000 rupees I am willing to pay. But if you produce only one unit, what happens? Piece rate being 100. Number of pieces produced being pieces produced per day. Okay, but my standard production per day being 10. The person who produced 10 units, no issues. I am very happy to offer 100 into 10,000 rupees. But another fellow who produces only 8 units, as per my offer, 100 into 8, 800 rupees I have to pay. But piece means Taylor, what he says is no. The minimum number of units you have to produce is 10. If you produce less than that, whatever the piece rate, I guarantee in that only 80% is payable. So 100 into 8, 800, in that 80%, 640 only will be payable. 640 only will be payable. Why, sir? If you come and produce just only one unit, as per my guarantee, 100 into 1, 100 rupees you will be getting. Okay, happy. But what happens? A day long I have given my space and means fan. During the refreshment hours, tea and snacks and other facilities provided. The seat I provided, it costs me 1,000 a day. Understand? So automatically what happens now? You produced one unit only the day, you wasted the entire day stating I produced one unit, give me 1 unit's labor cost, I pay this one, but what about the overhead, sir? Overall cost for me is 1100 rupees for 1 unit, so per unit being 1100. The person who has produced only 10 units, the person who has produced 10 units, 1000, the overhead remains the same. The space and the rent, electricity, tea and snacks for the day being the same 1000. So overall cost for me being 2000 rupees, but for how many units? For 10 units, so the cost per unit is 200. The person who is capable of producing as per my expectation, my cost per unit will be the cheaper. Instead of producing 10, if you are producing only 1 or 2, unwantedly you are burdening me by incurring additional overhead. That is going to be increasing the cost per unit production. So I am going to penalize if you are not going to produce much faster. If you are producing as per my expectation, I am happy. What happens the fellow who produces 15 units are 15 into 100 rupees, 1500. My overhead is being 1000, 2500 for how many units? 15 units, and cost per unit being, what's the cost per unit? 167. So as you are producing more than my expected standard, you are actually saving the overhead to the management. So you will be appreciated by offering 20% more than the overhead cost, means normal piece rate. So if you are working less than my expectation, whatever the piece rate I calculate and pay you, in that I'm going to levy a penalty. I offer only 80%. If you are able to manufacture more than what I expect, then I'll be giving an appreciation by offering 20% additional to the piece rate. But Tyler says if you are performing less than standard, you will be penalized. If you are working more than standard, you will be appreciated. That's all. That's why it is called differentiated. But it is not exactly 80 and 120. Some others may recommend it maybe 90, 110. Some other it may recommend as 80 and 83 or 80 and 160 also. Some others may be 70 and 160 or 163. If nothing stated in the question, go with 80 and 120. If it is clearly stated the differential to be applied like 90, 110, you just go and apply that one. The main logic between in this Taylor's differential piece rate system is the person who works less than the standard expected, he should be penalized by offering lesser. The person who works at or above standard will be appreciated by giving some additional value, additional benefit. And this seems to be very harsh and but anyway, very interesting one, propounded by Tyler in the very first labor cost planning. He made lots of inventions in means of salary and other structures also. So he was the father of management, like okay. Automatically, what happens is follower later gave some variations from the same. Variations from the same. Let's see the next one. Fourth one. Merrick multiple piece rate system. Merrick multiple piece rate system. He also recommends the same, but what happens? In this case, only differentiated, like below performer, above performer. In this case, multiple piece rate systems were introduced. Okay, multiple piece rate systems. Here, performance rating is less than, okay, 83%, then piece rate will be payable. Pieces produced into piece rate. If it is anywhere between 83% to 100%, then 110% of pieces produced into piece rate will be given. If it is more than 110%, okay, 100%, then 120% of piece rates will be given. Clear? This is what about the Merrick multiple piece rate. Merrick multiple piece rate. Now, one more variant is there. Fifth one, Gaunt guarantee task plan. Gaunt guarantee task plan. If his standard is less than 100% or standard, less than standard, time wage will be given. Time wage will be given. At standard, maybe 120% of time wage or 120% of piece wage. You will get same answer in both the cases. Above standard, 120% of piece wage will be given. Piece wage or high piece rate will be given. High piece wage if it is given. So Taylor's differential piece rate system, differentiating the below performer and above performer, that's all. Merrick multiple, so he has introduced gradual appreciation, just a basic piece rate, 10% motivation for 83 to 100% performer, and 20% appreciation will be given if you are performing more than 100%. But in case of God guarantee, there will be guarantee. When the employees will get the guaranteed salary, only in time wage. Whether he works or not, he gets the salary because of the time wage. So if his performance is less than standard, time wage will be given. At standard, either time wage or piece wage you can calculate, the values will be same, but add 20%. Above standard, find out the pieces, because the pieces production may be higher. For the higher piece production, you have to find out the piece wage and add 20%. Or sometimes there may be a high piece rate may be given. Normal piece rate may be 10 rupees, high piece rate may be 15 rupees. Then at standard you can take with the 10 rupees. For the above standard you calculate with 15 rupees piece rate. If you are performing more than the standard, your piece rate may be highest one. Okay, that way Gaunt has guaranteed in a different method. And of course, the Emerson efficiency system is there, very rare, to understand that. Okay, very rare. But in your Singar Academy text, I have given basic formula for Emerson system also. And you need to understand the premium plans also. Let me finish up first of all. Taylor, Merrick, Gaunt, these three first of all. Once it is over, then we will go for the premium plans. Then all the variations are over. But of course, in the examination, the questions may be totally different, not as you expect. Okay. So concepts are over, but the examination question papers are pretty different. So I may solve that exam related questions also after completion of this concepts. Today we will finish up the concepts of all the variations. So tomorrow, the next class, I will finish up how this way may be expected in your examination. Okay. Come on. In a factory, a worker produced 14 units in a day of 8 hours. Wage rate per hour is 400. Hourly rate. Okay. Time taken 8 hours. Pieces produced 14 units. Standard output per hour is 2 units. Then what about this is the actual output. What about the standard output? Per hour you can produce 2 units. For 8 hours, 16 units you can produce. So from this it is very clear, he is an underperformer. The differential piece rate system, under differential piece rate system, your worker is paid only 83% when his performance is below standard, 125% of the piece rate when his performance is at or above standard. Already clearly stated here. What's that? If you are being the below performer, 83% of the piece wage will be payable. If you are above performer, 125% will be offered. Find out the labor cost of the worker up for the day. So what happens here? In this case, below standard. Then pieces produced into piece rate into 83%. Differentials to be applied. Pieces produced being 14. What about the piece rate? We have been given the hourly rate. If hourly rate given instead of piece rate, how can you calculate the piece rate? So piece rate is equal to hourly rate divided by standard output per hour. Hourly rate being 400 rupees and the expected standard output per hour being 2. From this it is very clear, it costs us 200 rupees per unit. Piece rate can be calculated this way, hourly rate divided by number of standard units can be produced in the denominator. So I've given the list of sections, formula also for the calculation of piece rate, hourly rate divided by standard output per hour. 1 hour I offer you 400 rupees and I demand you to produce 2 units. It means for 2 units of production I offer you 400 rupees. Then per unit is 200 rupees. Otherwise hourly rate divided by standard output per hour. Then how can you calculate hourly rate? You multiply these two. From the formula number 1 you can arrive the formula number 2 also. Clear? Performance rating, already we have studied the formula here. Yeah. Yes. 14 units per hour being 200 rupees, as is being the below performer, only 83% is offered. What's the value? 2000? 324. Okay. Now, also find out the labor cost of the worker for the day if he produces 18 units. Then in case of above standard, means production of 18 units. Here 14 units. So 18 units, 200 rupees is the cost per unit. As is being the above standard, 125% will be offered. 4,500 is the value. These kinds of questions you may not expect for the CA level. CMA level also pretty rare, only carrying 2 marks. The comprehensive illustrations type may be expected. So we'll see that in subsequent lecture. Okay. Finish up copying. We'll move on to the next illustrations. Now we'll move on to the next illustration. Yes. Calculate the earnings of workers A, B, and C under straight piece rate system, Merrick multiple piece rate system, and all. Normal rate per hour, hourly rate is given 540. Standard time per unit being 1 minute. Okay, then what about the piece rate? Hourly rate divided by standard output per hour. Am I right? Hourly rate being 540. 1 minute per unit means for 60 minutes, 60 units could be manufactured. Then the value being 9 rupees. 9 rupees is the piece rate. Now, here worker A, B, C. What about the output? 390, 450, 600. Okay, what about the performance rating, actual output divided by standard output. Standard output being, come on, tell me, working hours per day being 8 hours into 60 minutes, you have 480 minutes. For every unit, I need 1 minute. So for every 1 minute, I can manufacture 1 unit. For 60 minutes, 60 units can be manufactured. For 8 hours, 480 can be manufactured. This is standard. But A has produced only 390. For 480, 390 means what is the performance rating? 81.25%. B has produced 450 units. As we expect 480, his performance rating is 93.75%. C has produced 600 units. As we expect 480, his performance rating is 125%. So from this it is very clear, A and B are performing lesser, C is performing above standard. Now what method we have to follow? Merrick multiple piece rate system. As per Merrick's multiple piece rate system, 0 to 83% we offer only piece rate, 83 to 100% we offer 110% of piece rate, and above 100% we offer 120%. Is that clear? Now for A, we offer only a what? As his performance rating is less than 83%, piece rate will be offered. 390 units per unit, piece rate being 9 rupees. 3,510. In case of B, his performance rating is in the range between 83% to 100%. Then 110% of piece rate is offered to him. 110%. Number of pieces produced being 450 into 9 rupees into 110% will be offered. And 4455. 4455. In case of C, piece rate performance rating being more than 100%. So 120% of piece rate is offered to him. 600 units into 9 rupees into 120% will be offered. 6,480. That's all. Is that clear? Shall I move on to the next one? Now, we'll deal with the Gantt bonus plan. As per Gantt bonus plan, especially guarantee, below standard, guarantee will be available only when time wage is offered. At standard means 120% of piece wage or time wage, you will get the same answer. Above standard means 120 percentage of piece wage or high piece wage will be given. High piece wage. Okay. For the CA, these kinds of questions, I think in the last batch, all these questions were removed from the syllabus itself. Then suddenly they included. Okay, now is it available in your text for CA? No, sir, we have to see. Okay. So, anyhow, these are the ideas. Real exam questions based on these ideas, they drafted their own format. So, you need to understand the format and answer that. Okay. From the following data, calculate the total monthly remuneration of three workers A, B, and C under Gantt task bonus plan. Standard production being 1000, A produced lesser. So for A, below standard. In case of below standard, what we do, time taken in the hourly rate will be the wages. Okay, time taken in the hourly rate. But time taken information is missing means you can do this way also. What is that? Piece wage at standard output. These are same. Make a correction. You can write this as a formula. Okay. Standard output into piece wage. This formula will be, you'll get the answer directly. Okay. So what is the guarantee? If you produce less than be expected, you'll be offered the expected salary. What is the expected salary? 1000. 1000 you're supposed to produce, so we'll offer salary for the 1000 units production. So 1000 into 5, 5000 rupees. Is that okay? In case of B, at standard. In case of at standard, time taken into hourly rate into 120 percentage. Or pieces produced output. So if you forget about the 120, first formula will be similar to this one. That's a logic. Okay. So pieces produced being 1000 into piece rate being 5 rupees into 120 percentage, 6000. 6000. And C, his performance being above standard. In case of above standard, pieces produced into piece rate into 120 percentage or pieces produced into high piece rate. Here high piece rate information is missing, only piece rate is given, so you can take that. 1100 into 5 rupees into 120 percentage. 120 percentage. What's the value you are getting? 6600. Clear? Now, we'll move on to the next illustration. Premium plans. Premium plans. We have Halsey, Halsey Rowan, and Bath. These are the 4 plans available. Rowan. Sorry, Bath. Okay. In all these plans, one thing is common. Time taken into hourly rate is common. Time taken into hourly rate. Time taken into hourly rate is common. Okay. Time taken into hourly rate is common. But whatever the standard time fixed, if you are able to finish up much ahead of time, that difference is called as time saved. For the time saved, employer is not required to pay salary, no. It's what about the salary saved. In that salary saved, a portion is given to the employee as bonus or premium. I'm going to add that. Add. Time saved into hourly rate. Time saved into hourly rate. Time saved into hourly rate. But first 3, it is not exactly time saved into hourly rate. They will offer only 50%, sir. In case of hourly where method, 30% or 1/3 may be offered. The answer may be different, 1/3 or 30%. But row 1, rather than stating this as 50-30, he says time taken by time allowed extent of this will be offered to the employees as premium. As per premium. So in all the cases, time taken in the hourly rate is the salary for the hours worked. While comparing the standard time, I allowed you to work the work means allow the job to be completed in 10 hours, but you completed in 8 hours. So 8 hours salary is given. For the 2 hours you saved, for the 2 hours of savings in the salary, 50% for employee, 50% for the management. No, sir, 30% for the employee. That's coming in the wholesaler. In case of row 1, in that time taken by time allowed extent will be given to the employee. But under Barth, it's pretty interesting. You multiply time allowed into time taken and take the root of this. See, 10 hours is the time allowed, time taken being 8 hours. So here, for 2 into hourly rate out of that 50%, here 2 into hourly rate into 30%, here 2 into hourly rate, time taken by time allowed, 8 by 10 means 80% of this will be for the employee. Under the Barth system, if you multiply the time allowed and time taken, take the root of this, the answer should be anywhere between 8 to 10, probably 8.9. Though he worked for 8 hours, but he is given the salary for 8.9 hours. The 0.9 is the premium. 0.9 will be the premium. So these are the methods recommended. These are the methods recommended. Clear? Premium plans. Calculate the earnings of worker, wholesale plan, wholesaler, row 1 and Barth plan. Hourly rate being 50. Standard time for producing 1 dozen article, 3 hours. Actual time taken by the worker to produce 20 dozen, time taken being 48 hours. What about the time allowed? 1 dozen, 3 hours for 20 dozens, so you have to multiply with 20 dozens, so 60 hours. Hope you will be now able to understand hourly rate, time taken and time allowed. Now you fit into this formula to find out the salary under all the scenarios. Yes. Time taken being 48. What is the hourly rate? 50. Plus 50 percentage of time saved. What is the time saved here? The difference between these two, 12 hours being the time saved, in the hourly rate being 50. What's the final value? 2,700 under wholesale plan. In case of wholesale wear, are you getting this? In case of wholesale wear, 48 and 50 is the common. Okay. Plus, but only 30% of the time saved is shared to the employee. 30% into time saved into hourly rate 50. Now the value being 2,580. In case of row 1, 48 into 50 plus time taken being 48 divided by time allowed being 60 into time saved 12 into hourly rate. Then final value being 2880. Under bar system, 60 time allowed, time taken being 48, take the root of this. With that, multiply with the hourly rate, hope you will be getting 2,683. This is what about the total wages. Now, what about the effective hourly rate, sir? Effective hourly rate. Effective hourly rate usually you will calculate in case of wholesale where row 1 and bar system, which is nothing but the total wage payable is divided by time taken. So this is divided by time taken. 2,700 divided by 48, 56.25. So hourly rate being 50, because of the wholesale plan, this employee gets 56.25. Around 6 rupees 25 paise, it gets more premium. That's why it's called premium plans. So whatever the basic hourly rate is inflated due to these premium plans applied. So 50 to 56.25. What happens in case of wholesale wears are, you divide that 2,580 by time taken 48. So the value being 53.75. And here 60 and last one being 55.90. Clear? Hope now you'll be able to understand this part. Yes. Make it faster. We'll move on to the next one. Now, let's see question number 5. A worker produced 200 units in a week's time. A guaranteed weekly wage payment for 45 hours is 8,100. Now, what about the hourly rate? 8,100 divided by 45. 180. The expected time to produce 1 unit being 15 minutes for 200 units. 200 into 15 minutes. Divided by 60. 50 hours needed. 50 hours needed. Our time taken being, time allowed being 50 hours. Which is raised further by 20% under incentive scheme. For incentive scheme, 20% is raised. So 60 hours being the time allowed. Usually for the incentive purpose, after working 15 minutes, we have to give freedom, free time. That is what about 20%. Usually it is inflated by 20% for the free time. Finish off an item in 15 minutes, take 3 minutes rest. 20% and 15 minutes being 3 minutes. For every unit, he works for 15 minutes, takes rest for 3 minutes. That's what about inflated by 20%. This is what about the time allowed. What will be the earnings per hour of that worker under Halsey and Rowan bonus plan? But time taken being 45 hours only, the week. 45 hours. So we have to find out the wages under Halsey plan. Under Halsey plan being time taken into hourly rate plus 50% of time saved into hourly rate. As well as we have to calculate under Rowan method. Time taken into hourly rate. Under Rowan method, this 50% is changed into variable like time taken divided by time allowed into time saved into hourly rate. Hope you will be able to understand this question. Number 5 seems to be pretty simple. Only one additional point to be noted here is all about this 10 hours. Time incentive, this will be named as time incentive. Time incentive means to finish the work you need to take at least 50 hours, but I am giving another 10 hours extra. Rupee incentive, you know that. If you finish up much ahead, 100 rupees salary is inflated to 120. Here time incentive is given. You will be given not 15 minutes, you will be given 18 minutes for manufacturing 1 unit. Usually, in your examination, the comparison between Halsey and Rowan plan may be expected. Very, very important. What is that importance here? Under Halsey 50% plan, the incentive will be 50% of the time saved. Under Rowan, it's time taken by time allowed. If the time taken is only 50% of the time, what happens then? Okay, time allowed being 60, but time taken being only 30. What happens then? This will be equivalent to 30 by 50 is similar to this one. So, up to 50% of time saved, the Rowan plan and Halsey plan will give same salary. Okay, that's very, very important one. Okay. If time saved is 50%, under Rowan Halsey plan as well as Rowan plan. Under Halsey plan and Rowan plan, you will get the same salary. You will get the same salary. Is that okay? Same salary. Both are same. Isn't it? Logically. But if the time saved is less than 50%, probably 60, time taken 45, then 15 hours is the time saved. The time saved is 50%, less than 50% only. Then this will be 45 by 60. So 45 by 60 is equal to 75% of the incentive. Here only 50%, which is higher. Rowan plan will be higher. If the time saved is more than 50%, 60, but you saved 40 hours, more than 50%, then what about the time taken? Only 20. So 20 by 60 only one third will be given here, but here it's 50%. So in this case, Halsey plan will be higher and Rowan plan will be lower. This comparison may be converted into an illustration, a type of uh, much calculation based. This is very, very important. At 50% time saved, Halsey and Rowan will be the same. If the time saved is less than 50%, then Rowan is better. If the time saved is more than 50%, then Halsey is better. 2 points to be noted here is number one, time premium, number two being this comparison. Yes, you can finish up the Halsey plan calculations easily here. Time taken in this case being 45, hourly rate being 180 plus 50% of time saved. Time saved in this case being 15 hours, hourly rate being 180. What's the final value you are getting? 10,125. And also find out the effective hourly rate. This is the total wages and this is effective hourly rate. Effective hourly rate is nothing but the total wages is divided by the time taken. This value be 225. In case of row 1, 45 into hourly rate 180 plus time taken being 45 divided by total time allowed being 60 into time saved being only 15 into hourly rate being 180. Then total wages in this case being 9,450 and effective hourly rate should be divide this by time taken 210. As in this case time saved is less than 50%, Halsey plan will be better. Halsey plan will be, I made a mistake, right? First one is what? Okay, this one is 9,450, 210, and this one is 10,125. This is 225. Okay. As the time saved is less than 50%, definitely row 1 plan is better. Row 1 plan is better. Now we'll move on to the next illustration. A worker under Halsey plan of remuneration has a day rate of 12,000 per week of 48 hours. So 12,000 per week of 48 hours. Then what about the hourly rate? $250 plus a cost of living bonus 100 per hour work and living bonus DA. Living bonus is nothing but DA rupees 100 per hour. He is given 8-hour task to perform. So time allowed to do the job being 8 hours. 8 hours job. Which he accomplishes in 6 hours, but time taken is only 6 hours. He is allowed 30% time saved as premium bonus. Then Halsey 30% plan, Halsey year model. What would be his total hourly rate of earnings and what difference would it make if they were paid under row one plan? So Halsey 30% plan, usually named as Halsey ware, time taken into hourly rate plus 30% of time saved into hourly rate. Remember, this DA, cost of living index, will not carry any incentive. That will be payable based on the hours work. Clearly, it is given. Plus a cost of living bonus 100 per hour work. Incentive will not be available for the DA. So, add time taken into DA per hour. DA per hour. In case of row 1, what happens? Time taken into hourly rate plus time taken by time allowed into time saved into hourly rate plus time taken into DA per hour. DA per hour. Time taken being 6 hours and the hourly rate being 250 plus 30% time saved being 2 hours into hourly rate being 250 plus time taken 6 hours into DA per hour being 100. Final well being 2250. Effective hourly rate being 375. And in this case, 6 into 250 plus time taken being 6 by time allowed 8, time saved being 2 into 250 plus 6 into 100. The DA remains same irrespective of his speed of working. Hope this value being 2475 and effective hourly rate being 412.5. The main focus in this illustration is all about this cost of living index will not carry any premium. Will not carry any premium. Now, we'll move on to the next illustration, question number 7. A skilled worker in XYZ Limited is paid a guaranteed wage rate of ₹300 per hour, hourly rate being 300. The standard time per unit for the particular product is 4 hours. Standard time being 4 hours per unit. P, a machine man, has been paid wages under row 1 incentive plan. He had earned an effective hourly rate of 375. Effective hourly rate is equal to 375 on a manufacturer of the particular product. What could have been his total earnings and effective hourly rate had he been put on Halsey incentive plan? So under row 1 incentive plan, he gets 375 as his effective hourly rate. Then we need to find out the time saved based on this as a missing data and apply Halsey incentive scheme then. Tell me. Under row 1, time taken into hourly rate plus time taken divided by time allowed into time saved into hourly rate. Whole divided by time taken, you'll get what? Effective hourly rate. Effective hourly rate. Am I right? Total wages divided by total time taken will be the effective hourly rate. Whatever the known thing, you can try to solve this illustration. So here effective hourly rate being 300, 375 is equal to, now this will be hourly rate plus, okay, this one also divided by time taken, this one also be divided by time taken because of the common denominator will be cancelled. Hourly rate plus time saved into hourly rate divided by time allowed. Time allowed. Hourly rate being 300 plus time saved I need to calculate. Time allowed being 4, hourly rate being 300. Otherwise 75. Am I right? Clear? Now, $75 time saved is equal to, I transfer the 300 to the other side, so 375 minus 300. So time saved is equal to 75, this divided by this one, 1. Time saved being 1. So standard time is 4 and time saved is equal to 1 and time taken should be 3. Now use this for the wholesale plan. Time taken into hourly rate plus 50%, time saved into hourly rate. Time taken being 3 hours into hourly rate 300 plus 50%, time saved 1 into 300. What's the final value? 1050, 1050, and you divide this by 3, 350 being the effective hourly rate. 350 being the effective hourly rate. Final one, under the row 1 premium bonus plan, less efficient worker can obtain same bonus as a highly efficient worker. Discuss with suitable example. Already I explained. Okay, the person who saved 50% time will get equal salary like row 1 and wholesale. If he saves only 30% time, then he gets more salary for row 1. If he saves more time, then he gets more salary in wholesale. So answer is given there. You can go and compare this one. Okay. For example, let the job standard time being this one. If time taken is only 3 hours, okay, 3 hours, what happens? Under row 1 case, time taken 3 hours, time taken 1 hour. Who is more efficient? The person who completes the job in 1 hour is efficient, but this fellow is inefficient. Yet the hourly rate under the both the case being the same, 3.75. So logically it's not good at all. That's a drawback of row 1. So hereafter the other model, how you can expect the illustration in your examination, will cover in the next class. So hope you will be now able to understand all the basic models here. Hope you might have studied all these things at your UG level itself. So hereafter all the things are related to